Every Monday night, check out Ray Adams as he hosts the Monday Night Golf and Lifestyle Show from 6 to 7 p.m. here on NBC Sports Radio AM 1060.
In the sports talk radio justice world, mediocre quarterback play and porous tackling are considered especially heinous. On NBC Sports, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Lance J Radio Network. These are their stories.
So, Ray, at our alma mater, the great Oakwood University,
Yes.
I know that you were just an alumni.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, we'll do a segment about alumni and what our alumni and how cultish that is and how it's different than everybody else's. And we have our own little cliques, and everybody comes back. And 20 years later, and the cool people are still the cool people, and the pretty girls are still the pretty girls, and the people who are lames are now doing well in life, but it doesn't matter because you were whack in college, so it's really irrelevant. We'll talk about that at a different point in time. But I found out, I was looking at the website, that Darryl Bell, who played Ron Johnson on A Different World, which is my favorite show. My relationship with my girlfriend, in many ways, we bonded in watching A Different World. When I was in college, my roommate and I, A Different World used to come on TBS at 5 in the morning. It came on from 5 to 7 a.m. We would get up and get a huge bowl of cereal, and we would just sit and watch A Different World early in the morning, because it was really getting into the clutch years where Whitley and Dwayne were going through their thing, and we just had to have it. Like, we had to have it. We would eat cereal, watch A Different World, and we go to our 8 o'clock class.
Right. Like a soap opera.
Ron is speaking for Oakwood's commencement ceremony. Now, that leaves a series of other questions, because I don't know if having Ron Johnson speak at your graduation ceremony is optimal. And there are a whole lot of things around that, but I'm not going to get into that side of it, because I've been ripping our school on my social media page for a series of poor decisions that they've made within the leadership structure. We're not going to do that. Okay. But I did wanted to reinstitute, like I said, we're getting back to our roots in the show that this network is about and what we've been doing. And, shout out to everybody else that's on the team. My crew, the OSS guys, 980 in D.C., Rita Beyond Sports, Jonesy, Cedric Blue, Double Entendre Show. Really getting back to our roots. One of my favorite segments on the show is the Top 5 Dead or Alive segment. Now, you've never experienced me do a Top 5 Dead or Alive segment. It's basically the Lance J Radio Network Power Rankings. So I'll take any specific topic. It could be the best quarterback. It could be the best two-guard. It could be the best radio show. It could be the best TV show. I want to do a Top 5 Dead or Alive on my favorite moments from A Different World. And when I texted you during the week, I said, Ray, are you a Different World fan? You said, of course I'm a Different World fan. How could you not be a Different World fan? So I want to cue the music. We're going to do a Top 5 Dead or Alive, 5 best moments from A Different World.
Okay.
Number 5 was the Strangers on a Plane episode. This is the episode where Dwayne Wayne is coming back from Tokyo, and him and Whitley are on the exact same plane. And Dwayne was kind of this lame freshman, sophomore. He shows up on the plane wearing a 3-piece suit, and he's all decked out, haircut nice. Whitley, in her rich bouginess, sees this, and she's like, oh, this dude has some potential. And they end up sitting next together on the plane, and they kind of start catching a little bit of feelings for each other. To me, that's the 5th best moment. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't recall that one.
Oh, come on.
I don't recall that one. But
you're killing me.
The bougie Whitley, yes. I mean, all day.
It's a coming of age episode where basically Dwayne Wayne is becoming a man, not the childish flip sunglasses guy that we remember from his freshman year. Number 4, and one of the reasons I really liked A Different World is because they attacked issues that were relevant to the African American community and the African community abroad as well. They did a lot of discussion on Mandela and apartheid in South Africa. Really, nobody was touching that at this particular point in time. There's the episode, the Orange Glow episode, and this is where Kim Reese, she got a scholarship, and Kim Reese was in med school, or she was aspiring to be a doctor. Yeah. She didn't really come from money like Whitley and some of the other people there. She was that person that's the equivalent of someone at Oakwood that's just barely clearing, just barely squeaking through.
Right.
She had this scholarship from Orange Glow, which was this big conglomerate. However, they had investments in South Africa that supported apartheid. and there's a big picketing and boycott and all this stuff. Kim decides not to take the scholarship. But however, she's still able to procure a scholarship through other means. And I thought that episode was really important. You see now people boycotting Starbucks, people boycotting different entities because they feel disenfranchised or disrespected. For someone to actually not take a scholarship when you need that money to go through school, I thought that was very powerful.
That is powerful.
Number 3, and I hope that you remember this because you're 0 for 2, Ray. I don't know if you're really a Different World fan. Now we have to talk offline about this.
I got jet lag.
The episode where Dwayne and Ron pledged to Capilanda New. And they go in as pledges. And Ron was really about that pledge life. He was a pledge legacy. He was about that party life, about the women, about the parties, about the stepping and twirling the cane, all of that stuff. Dwayne Wade wasn't about that. He was a genius. And I'm a genius. I didn't pledge when I was at Oakwood because I didn't need to pledge. I was like, I'm going to be successful whether I pledge or not. So why should I let somebody take a paddle to my keister just to build relationships that I'm inherently going to build just because I'm me? So I was like Dwayne Wade, but Ron wanted to pledge, and they had beef over the fact that they didn't want to do it together.
Yeah.
There's a scene where they part ways. Ron goes to his boys that are singing the Capilanda New song and stepping. Dwayne walks up the steps at the pit. And it was kind of like a fork in the road for their relationship. Ron was going to go in one direction, Dwayne was going to go in the other direction. Now, are you in a sorority, Ray?
No.
I didn't think that you were. Because I like to clown the sororities at times. I've gotten a lot of heat for clowning fraternities and sororities.
I am actually interested in pledging some grad chapter stuff. I'm interested in pledging Delta grad chapter, actually.
That makes sense.
And
I had you pegged as more of an AKA.
Did you? I feel like I didn't.
You got a little bit of hood in you, though.
Right. That's why I just kind of was like,
you'll lay somebody out if it comes down to it.
I wasn't sure about the AKA.
Don't sleep on Ray because she's small and beautiful. Like Ray will light you up if you roll up on her in the wrong manner.
Right. Don't pull up.
Number 2, HIV/AIDS was something in the late 80s, early 90s that really nobody wanted to touch. A very serious episode involving Tisha Campbell, where she was the new student, and Tisha Campbell was cute. She was coming off of her personal off-screen with A Different World, but being in School Days and really building her brand, House Party. Yeah. Everybody knew who Tisha Campbell was. She was the it girl. She came in and people were trying to holler at her at Hillman, and it was discovered. Whoopi Goldberg was on this episode, and there was an essay that was being written. Tisha Campbell wrote an essay about where will you be in 20 years, and Tisha Campbell wrote an essay about how she would be dead because she had contracted HIV. And through a sexual relationship with her boyfriend who didn't warn her unprotected sex. And they dealt with HIV. They dealt with everybody started thinking about their sexual behavior and if they were using condoms. And Ron, who was kind of a person that messed around with everybody, was very, very worried about his life because he'd been through so many people. I thought that was really powerful.
That is. That's real
to have that discussion, especially back in 1991, 1992. Before the Magic Johnson era, before we really had people who were well known that had HIV, back then it was a death sentence. Yeah. And now we've known that people with drugs and therapy can live a very decent lifestyle while having that illness. Right. So that was a really important episode to me. Number 1, though, and I'm gonna cue the clip for number 1.
Will you? Blessed are those who ask you questions, brother. Whitley, I love you, and if you'll have me, I want you to be my wife. What the hell are you doing? Hey, I'm sorry, Byron, I love her.
Yes,
Will you have me, Dwayne, as your lawfully wedded husband from this day forth to having a whole and richer for poorer? Baby, please, please.
I do.
One of the best moments in the history, you can bring the music back. Oh, you don't have to bring the music back. One of the best moments in the history of television to me is when Whitley leaves Byron at the altar for Dwayne. Right. Because they had their relationship. They had been through it. It was true love. That everybody's like, baby, please. Like, I really thought I think I was 14, 15. I think I was a freshman or a sophomore at Pine Forge Academy when this episode came on. You really thought that they were in love for real. They had so many things. Dwayne had been trying to get at her for like 4 years.
Yes.
Dwayne was from Bed-Stuy. He's from the hood. He didn't have no money. He didn't have no whip.
Right.
He couldn't dress. He wasn't the popular, cool kid, but he was smart. He was going to do something with his life, where Whitley is the bougie,
Right.
legacy
Suck
family,
up.
fur
Right.
coats, red bottom shoes, all of that good stuff. And Dwayne was actually able to pull her through years of work, and she left
Gotta
a
be
state
consistent.
senator. She left Olivia Pope's dad to marry Dwayne Wade
Gotta
and
be
go
consistent.
and go into that life. So I thought that was a great rundown. Just curious of your thoughts.
You got to be consistent. I mean, consistency always wins the girl in the end.
I agree.
I mean, totally.
I agree. And it worked for Dwayne Wayne.
And it works for other people.
It works for other
Yeah,
people.
it works.
Yes, you got a lot of guys don't want to do that. They just want to take the
put
easy
that
road
work
out.
in, but you got to be consistent.
So that's my top 5 dead or alive on a different world. If you have any questions, hit us up at Lance J Radio Network on Instagram. We'll be back after these messages with Jerobi from A Tribe Called Quest, NBC Sports Radio.